in Houston. I'm John Herder. It's Tuesday, the 23rd day of January. Great as always to have you along, everybody. From the Experts is a virtual networking opportunity flow accelerator, helping leaders across industries connect very quickly in a brief, moderated, interactive show format. It's like a TED Talk with interaction. And if everything goes well, your curiosity is sparked, new ideas accelerate action, and you may have helped yourself or somebody else solve a problem, make a connection, reaching the opportunity faster. Folks, help me welcome guest expert Andrea Ruotolo. Andrea is the global head of customer sustainability at Rockwell Automation. She's at the forefront of driving sustainability innovation and advocating for the integration of AI/ML in the realm of industrial sustainability. With a track record spanning 20 years in global executive roles, she is a Fulbright doctorate in sustainable energy systems. Notably, she has also pursued specialization in digital business strategy and AI at MIT Sloan School of Management. Her contributions to the field have garnered LinkedIn, honoring her as a top voice in artificial intelligence. So today we're looking forward to better understanding and contrasting some of the practical aspects and I'd say aspirations of this emerging AI-first business model. Welcome, Andrea. Perfect timing. It kind of feels like we're on the verge of a new mega trend with you on the leading edge. So super grateful to have you on From the Experts leading our discussion today.
Thank you so much for having me. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, this is the first time I'm going to be presenting this integrated view at how to run responsible AI-guided organizations. So I would love to hear your thoughts, your comments, and questions. My Zoom stopped working for me right now. So this is not, I may need to log off. I don't know if it's because people are signing in and maybe that's creating a bit of a challenge. But can you see my presentation now?
Yes, we can see your presentation now.
Okay, excellent. So today I'm going to be talking about responsible AI-guided organizations for financial, operational, and ESG sustainability. By the way, I want to clarify that when I talk about sustainability, I'm not referring to just environmental sustainability. I'm thinking about on sustainability about creating a system that's not self-defeating. And so when I'm thinking about an organization that's not self-defeating, I'm thinking of an organization that is able to be financially, operationally, and ESG, environmental, social, and governance sustainable, looking at those three realms using responsible AI. So this is the structure of the presentation today. I'm going to be talking first about financial performance and data-centric operations, what is being called today as an AI-first organization. Then I'm going to move into how are we integrating AI within ESG and running that journey or that strategy within organizations, and then how to integrate these four realms to create a responsible AI-guided organization. So jumping into bringing together financial performance and data-centric operations, I highly recommend this book. I actually finished a course last year at Harvard focused on how to compete and win in the age of AI. And basically, what we looked is at how traditional product businesses compare with AI-first companies and how they are organized, structured, how do they operate, what are their differences, and how does that impact their financial performance. And so to the left, when you look at traditional product companies, you see to the left all these IT initiatives, this is like spaghetti code for IT projects. And that's a reality in most organizations. I believe most of us are sort of stuck in this IT project hell, trying to basically figure out what project do we find and what it's going to work. and where do we find the data? And we are calling one another, trying to figure out where's the data. And then we schedule a meeting and then a follow-up meeting to understand where's the project and who's the owner of that data to advance on any initiative that we may have. To the contrary, on the right, we have that operating with AI and software at the core of the company, with the data platform as the foundation. This is the norm of an AI-first company. And it's much more than just applying technology. This is completely rethinking how a company operates, making it digitally by design, and investing in long-term initiatives that build the pillars to operate 100% on top of data, software, and AI. And this is the new way to serve customers at scale and also operate at unprecedented speed. So when we look at, to the left, a traditional product business versus an AI-first company, there are multiple analyses that have been made comparing these two kinds of operational designs. And what they have, this is just one example, where BCG shares that operating with an AI-first model brings 2x more growth, 2x faster, and at 50% off the cost. So out of this Competing in the Age of AI course, I learned that they've figured out that there's a strong relationship between data centricity and AI deployment capabilities and enterprise performance. So AI-first companies use AI to drive digital scale, scope, and learning. And it's this ability to move to a digital representation of the business that is really a game changer. Just to give you an example, this way of designing the company and operating the company becomes infinitely scalable at virtually zero marginal cost. One example that they shared is from Ant Financial, which is an Alibaba spinoff. They're able to serve 1.2 billion customers with only 10,000 employees. And by comparison, Bank of America only serves 67 million customers and needs 20x more employees. I think that's that shows the difference of one model versus the other one. And when we think about expanding your scope, as your business moves to become a platform powered by a massive scalable digital operating model, you gain the opportunity to connect this platform and its data to other services and stakeholders, therefore operating in the platform economy. Then in terms of learning, as you capture more data, you get better algorithms. As you get better algorithms, you get better services. You improve on your services, which will lead to more usage of your services, which will bring even more data. So that's how this data and learning flywheel only becomes possible when you think in a digital first representation of your business. That's how digital operating model, what's so-called the AI-first companies, can increase the value per user at almost net zero marginal cost versus a traditional product business that, as it tries to grow and bring more value per customer, the cost also increases and the complexity of the operations of the company. But one thing that's very interesting, I think many of you have seen this curve in the past, but now we have clearly AI is here. And this is what's going to accelerate they call it a collision of the two companies, the traditional product business companies and the digital AI first companies. AI, the impact of AI is it's going to accelerate network and learning effects, and therefore traditional companies will have less time to act to become a digital company, an AI first company. So anyway, I think a lot of people miss this point in how the curves leave less time to traditional product business companies, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about these other two topics. And I have removed the word responsible because, as I will share later on, unfortunately, we didn't have an initiative globally looking at responsible AI and sustainability. So there are trillions of dollars going behind sustainable investments. And companies that bring together digital transformation and ESG performance, or let's just call it ESG. When I'm talking about sustainability here, let's call it ESG. When companies bring together digital transformation and ESG, they are outperforming their peers because they can do multiple things. They can report on actual operational data that's auditable, and they can use that data to optimize some processes that's going to have an impact on their ESG performance metrics. Now, the promise of AI for ESG is quite significant. It's theoretical, though, right? This potential to reduce emissions. Here, they are estimating, BCG is estimating 10% of the total emissions in the world, adding 3 trillion in value add when applied to corporate sustainability. When we look at AI and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, there's theoretically all these positive impacts, but potentially as well negative impacts of how AI is going to, again, impact the environment, society, and the economy. Now, let's look at some specific examples of how AI is today impacting negatively towards ESG performance. So if I look at AI and energy consumption, we see that AI and AI model can emit as much carbon as 5 cars in their lifetimes. It's just one example. And that AI has been increasing its energy consumption 10x per year for the past about 15 years. Also, when we look at AI and water consumption, we see that AI tools have created a spike in Microsoft's water consumption, and these are very recent news. I was actually wondering why Microsoft didn't use AI to estimate the potential impact of water consumption before they did this, but anyway, just an interesting reality. And one of the things we see is that today, only 13% of the companies out there that could implement the use of AI for ESG are the minority, are 13%. But as the AI market grows and people better understand how to implement this technology, this number is also as well going to increase. That's why I thought it's very important that we look at the intersection of ESG and AI, yes, but responsible AI, where we, for example, if we look at reducing the greenhouse gas emissions using AI to optimize a process, that's fantastic. But if that is going to impact labor, right, that falls under the social pillar, right? If you're impacting a metric within the environmental pillar in a positive way, but then you might be impacting a metric in the social pillar in a negative way, then are you truly building a sustainable future? Well, that's one of the concerns that I had, and that's what launched the creation of the first leadership working group in the world, looking at integrating responsible AI governance metrics within the ESG framework. So that work is being done. And so now we can say that we have at least an initiative looking at integrating responsible AI and ESG. So when I did this course last year, the subtitle here, maybe you can't read it very well, so I'm going to read for you. It says, "Competing in the age of AI, strategy and leadership when algorithms and networks run the world." And that concerned me because I don't know if that's the future that I want. I don't know if that's the future that the majority of people want. This is one of my favorite phrases. Actually, it was they said that Abraham Lincoln was the owner of this phrase, but then there are some discussions about that. That's why I didn't author this phrase to anyone. But this is one of my favorite phrases, which is that the best way to predict the future is to create it. So I think that we are at this inflection point where leaders have a tremendous responsibility in integrating the financial performance of a company with this new way of operating a company, which is data-centric and using AI. I believe that the use of AI needs to be responsible, and it needs to be aligned with operationalizing ESG strategies that will all lead to a true sustainable future for the organization and for the planet. And this is a very conceptual model. It's extremely challenging to operationalize something like this, but I thought it would be very important to bring it up to all of you, because I believe that only the collective intelligence of all of us is going to be able to come up with the best way of creating a sustainable future while operationalizing all these different components that are necessary for a corporation to succeed. And with that, I think I'm a little bit over time, but
Wonderful.
I tried to present as fast as possible.
Thank you very much, Andrea. So we have one question that's come in the box here. It's talking about, what are best practices for AI first companies in terms of providing employees the right access to the tools? What's your take on that? And folks, finish the poll real quick and I'll share that. Go ahead.
Right. What I notice is that the majority of companies are being quite reactive to AI. And so the way that companies are starting to operationalize the use of AI is through initiatives that employees bring up, and they just get excited and they get working on initiatives, and it's this bottoms up approach, which I learned is not going to work as effectively as if the CEO of the company has a clear idea that they want to create this transformation in the company and to provide clear guidelines to their employees about what's the best use of that, of the technology. I also suggest that if you are interested in using this technology and there's not a clear plan in place, that you ask for that plan. First, I recommend leaders to work on a plan that has to have a clear direction of how you're planning to integrate these technologies and the impact this could have in your employees. But if you're an employee and you don't have that clear directives, then I suggest that you ask for clear directives, because this is definitely going to impact how we work. It's going to impact how we operate. It's going to, it is already a tool that enables to do improves decision making, but it's going to change everything we do.
Exactly. One of the questions that came up from the group was a little bit different here, but with all of the AI compute power required, how are we going to accommodate the need for energy in a sustainable way? That's got to be a key element here, huh?
Yes, absolutely. It's a key element. No one has the answer. Clearly, Microsoft turned on the engines, and then there was a spike in water consumption, and the communities were concerned about how the water is being used for the data centers versus how this could impact the communities where these data centers are located. There are no clear answers right now. But yes, this technology consumes resources that are that humans need as well. That's why I created this leadership group with the Responsible AI Institute. We have 50 organizations being part of the discussion to make sure that as we advance with the use of this technology, we are taking a comprehensive approach, looking at the ESG impact. And as you saw on my presentation, that slide deck that had just a summary of some of the environmental metrics, some of the social metrics, and some of the governance metrics, the reality is that some things we can make some connections. Humans, we can understand that if you implement an energy optimization model that uses AI and therefore you don't need some of your workforce, that's going to impact your workforce, right? There will be labor displacement. That's an obvious connection. However, I think that the more we bring in the data points about ESG performance and we look at how AI is shifting the different performance of each of the metrics, we will have a better understanding at cross correlations that right now we don't even know of.
Yeah, thank you. So just a real quick review of the 3-question survey. It looks like about 50% of the companies or people here, their firms are pursuing an AI first approach. And 70% of those believe that AI responsible governance does align with their interests and they're doing it. And then about 40% of the folks are interested in sharing. But with regards to sharing insights and contribution, that last question, Dr. Goreshi had asked, hey, could you explain a little more on the collaboration you're looking for, right, for people to share?
Right. So I would like to, if you don't mind, ask a question back to the audience. When people are thinking of pursuing an AI first approach, are you designing your company so that you will have minimal human involvement in your company? Because an AI first, I guess I struggle a little bit with what is AI first versus human first, right? Where AI is it empowers a human to build a more sustainable company. So if anyone is viewing the development of their company as an AI first, where do you see the role of the human in that company in the future?
Hey, Stephen, could I be so bold to ask you to speak up here from your perspective?
Yeah, I have I'm writing two at the same time. So there's a big question that's going to be posted to everybody there. It's the safeguards and the balances that we typically employ, looking to better understand the systems that are in place and the implications of those systems as they, work across the workforce. So, and that's part of the question that I was going to pose to the group is like, there's a lot of opinions out there, but a lack of actual data. Like we talk about the expense of the chat GPTs and these huge trainings and such. Yeah, we're talking billions of dollars and water and GPUs galore, but there's a lot of shallow learning, a lot of traditional learning that isn't so expensive that we're employing in the workforce. And that's the things that we have a heavy focus in enterprise because they're explainable and transparent versus some of these other techniques, they're just not. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to work with traditional machine learning, traditional AI versus some of the stuff on the news and such, because there's less applicability out of, certain well-known use cases and such. But then in terms of, safeguards, we're always looking to, like, if you look at the New York City employment decision stuff, like have a human involved when it's impacting people, when it's high risk. So, and we've always done this, like look at drug discovery, look at, health, anywhere where we're the finance, where we're dealing with people, insurance recommend, anywhere where we're actually impacting people, we have to make sure that we have a careful hand because machines make very kind of clear-cut decisions and biases. And sometimes the data changes, but we weren't smart enough to look at that aspect of the data changing. So you need that human in the loop to kind of validate those solutions in the high-risk area. But I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, Stephen, could you just tell everybody who you're with so they'll know where you're coming from?
Sure. I'm with IBM, and I used to run all the shared services around, AI use cases. I handle all the AI readiness and governance for the Chief Privacy Office and all of the data privacy governance for the Privacy Office. So everything you saw in front of the Senate committee, et cetera. all the data and model clearances coming into the company. So everything that you can, see that we're taking out to the public and such, that goes through my technology.
Great. Before we move to Dale, he's got his hand up. Andreas asks, how can we actually integrate the empirical AI with natural laws, physics, chemistry, biology, and human wisdom insight to make predictions, recommendations more realistic? What's your take on that, anybody? Well, we'll start with you, Andrea.
Let me read it again. How can we integrate empirical AI with natural laws and human wisdom insight to make predictions and recommendations more realistic? That's so interesting. Well, I don't think we are very good actually right now. I've been thinking about how can we design this system to follow more of the biomimicry, right? How can we design this AI organizational model following biomimicry? I don't think anyone has done that. Now, regarding the integration of AI with human wisdom and insight, this is where I challenge a little bit the AI first model. And I think that you have to have a human first, human-centric model where it's always for the benefit of the human, and the human is involved in providing perspective to AI. Since these algorithms are evolving with the data that we provide, I think that would be the integration now with biology and I'm not that sure. I've been hearing about some approaches where there would be more sensors out there, even sensors that they want to integrate within the human body and may help us evolve into a cyborg to provide that level of integration within our bodies to inform the AI. I think we need to, instead of waiting for that to happen, I think we need to be involved in the discussion. That's why I'm bringing up this topic today, because I think that we, instead of suffering from future shock, I don't know if you've heard of this book, we have to make sure that we are critical stakeholders helping inform what the future needs to look like. Otherwise, the future will be decided for us. Sorry for that long-winded
That's why we're
answer, but it's also a difficult topic for me, because when I hear this kind of terminology about cyborgs and what the future of human evolution needs to look like, it's a tough topic to digest.
Agreed. Dale.
Thank you. Hi, Andrea. How are you? Andrea and I were classmates
Hey.
at this Harvard AI course. Good seeing you. Great presentation.
Good to see you.
I just want to emphasize a bit more what Andrea was just talking about on the human first side. I'm with Intelios, and we are a nonprofit healthcare organization on a global basis that certifies healthcare professionals. And AI has the potential to completely transform our business model to improve our outcomes, which is patient safety and patient outcomes. But the technology is there, and one of the things we are learning as we are moving into an AI first type organization is human first. And what we are finding, and actually this was brought up a lot at the Harvard class, was actually the culture shifts that are required to make this successful. And we use the term augmented intelligence, not artificial intelligence. And to start, people have a preconceived notion of AI, such as we're seeing on this call, and it's actually overall negative because of the threats that it can bring. And no matter what technological infrastructure AI first projects should come into play, unless your organization and your people culture is accepting and understands, and it will not succeed. And so I just want to emphasize that as a human first that Andrew is mentioning, it's absolutely essential. From a business perspective, it is an absolute different change management platform and philosophy than historically has been done. And to me, that's even more important than actually the technological advancements that can occur. Otherwise, what you want to do simply won't happen.
Excellent.
Thank
Bob,
you.
I wanted to, I'm sorry, Andrea, do you have a remark on that?
That's very encouraging. Thank you so much, Dale. I know that this course, by the way, it's an amazing course. I highly recommend it. But as you've seen, right, they look at how AI first companies compared to traditional companies from a financial performance standpoint. And my point here is I think we need to look at the overall performance, integrating as well ESG performance, because it's not just about short-term impact, but the long-term impact that this can have within the organization, but also in the environment and society as a whole over time.
Any other questions based on what Dale just talked about? Feel free to go ahead and speak up. And while you're thinking about,
sorry, I have a question, follow-up question. Do you think most of the fear is because they've tried something and it has bounced back, or is it because they're even struggling to adopt? What
Rupa,
is the reason for the fear?
can you introduce yourself real quick? Tell them who you are.
Hi, Rupa Nagraj. I work for VMware, which is now a Broadcom company. I'm responsible for partner sales with HPE.
So I don't know if the question was, is this question for me or for Dale, Rupa?
Either of you, right? I was listening to both of your discussions there, and I'm trying to understand what is the root cause, right? Why they feel human first. There's so much discussions happening all over the place, a lot of keynotes in every event you can think about. Everybody just hammers on AI, every technology company. Since I'm in a technology development company, not in a practitioner kind of company, we are being hammered to develop more solutions for AI, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm trying to understand, when we develop solutions, they need to be adopted as well, right? So if customers are struggling, I would like to know where is the struggle? Is it because they've been hurt before by trying that, or is that because they're having fear of adoption?
I think based on my experience, the majority of companies are struggling to know where to start and where is the biggest impact use case. They need to prove what the value is and then what the impact of that use case could be. Now, I think the majority of companies are being reactive in the adoption and use of AI, and they don't have a long-term plan. And what we learned, Dale may bring this up as well, is that it's very important to have the CEO have a deep commitment to a long-term transformational journey, because this is going to be a painful process for organizations to restructure their operations and to restructure how they work. But what I see right now, mostly it's confusion about how to embrace this new technology. And my point here today is there is a model on how a traditional company can become more of an AI first company. But I think that we need to keep in mind responsible AI governance and ESG. And to be very clear, there are not clear responsible AI well adopted across the board governance processes in place that are easily adopted. So it's also a struggle to figure out, okay, what of everything that I could do should I be focusing on first? So I think more than fear, there's quite a lot of confusion.
Thanks, Andrea. Dale?
Yes, Andrea, well said. And Rupert, it's a great question. I'll just add on to what Andrea said, even much more fundamental from my perspective. I have the opportunity, I am the CEO of our company, and it's much more fundamental, as with any change, because people ask, what's in it for me?
Right.
And when they ask that question, and with all the PR, as you were saying, Rupa, that's going on, what they are hearing is that I'm going to be out of a job and I'm going to be irrelevant.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
the fear. That's the fear.
Yeah, it's a
And
maturity curve, right? It's a maturity
yeah,
curve, like what we went through when, there was automation being developed. But
yeah.
AI has been spoken of. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, but probably you can provide perspective to this. That AI has been spoken of very boldly, widely, demonstrations of chatbots, NLPs, LLMs. Those are the typical use cases that everybody showcases, right? And in the consumer space, you have, in my house, I use the robot vacuum that has some applicability, right? So those are purposeful. Now, I know we are talking more enterprise, maybe here, not retail or maybe consumer,
Get all
but
kinds
yeah. So even in banks, right, they're using chatbots. They're trying to do a lot of automation and avoid human interaction, having to go into bank, things of that nature. So don't you think that we've crossed some kind of chasm last year with so much hype happening in technology companies?
Anybody?
Yeah, I want to add something here.
Explain who you
I
are.
think I think in general AI is not AI. I mean, there are many forms of AI, and the applicability depends on the relevant business processes that need to be improved. There are vision AI models for quality assurance. There are machine learning models for optimization of plants. There are large language models, and the underlying intelligence under those models is vastly different. So when looking at an organization, you need to really make sure what particular process you're looking at and want to improve. And not all models obviously have any impact on the labor force in some form or fashion. So, and then another important point I want to point out is what key performance indicators in your organization do you want to improve, and how will you measure that? And you should have that. You should know that before you implement your artificial intelligence. So, thanks.
Thank you very much. And to the point of the impact this is going to have on jobs, yes, it's going to impact jobs. Some roles as you deploy AI within your organization. So my suggestion is that leadership needs to put a plan in place on how that journey would look like, needs to work with their employees. So instead of having the employees be stressed out and frightened about this, involve them on this journey and share with them what your plans are to educate them to get to the next level within the organization, so that instead of them being afraid about losing their jobs, they understand that they are going to be upskilled to the next role in the organization.
Thank you.
We all know that if your workforce is stressed out, then their performance is going to be reduced, and also you don't want to have your workforce being stressed out.
Exactly.
That's not good.
So, Andreas, I see that your hand's raised. Introduce yourself quickly and share your question.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andreas Bantzakos. I'm an energy consultant and expert. Previously worked in oil and gas. I think over there we have certainly applied a lot of AI, and we're also aspiring to use a lot of AI.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we can probably frame the question a little bit different. We always have concerns, and of course, concerns are very productive because that's how we solve problems. We are certainly need to spend some energy on the concern about whether jobs will be lost or maybe redeployed or reassigned. But I think the biggest concern that we also brought up, which we need to spend more energy on, is how will the decisions and the recommendations of AI will impact our world? And I think Andrea really brought that very nicely as a frame here. I think we will be probably more impacted by the decisions of AI into our personal and professional life. Who gets hired, who gets promoted, who gets laid off, or who gets assigned something, a project, than of course the fact that are we going to have a job on what we're doing today? Probably not, but that will happen with a lot of other revolutions, right? With the computers. So I think that structuring the AI is more important, and of course, being proficient like we're doing today, we're learning more about AI, is the safe way to have a job in the new economy.
So
Totally agree.
any last thoughts, Andrea, before we move on to the next segment?
Yes, yes. Few thoughts. So AI first organizations clearly have shown that they outperform their peers financially. And as soon as they collide with the traditional product business, that means they are taking that traditional product business company out of business. The way that the AI first model works is that when you design a company that way, the mindset is to digitize everything with scale in mind. And they create these new operating systems to rapidly deploy algorithms, right? So now AI becomes a new runtime, a new engine of execution. So to your point, Andreas, it becomes the system that's going to guide, if not make decisions for humans. That's the model that has been proposed, and it's already working in the world. And I think that it's very interesting. I definitely see the value, and there are very interesting things about it. My call is for us to make that model evolve into something better, something that's going to build a thriving future for us all. And it's not an easy challenge, but I think that we can definitely do it. That's why I wanted to join you all today.
Thank you. We're looking forward to seeing your white paper come out in the next, I guess, weeks to get our hands on a little more of that thinking and writing. And we're grateful for that. So folks, how was the discussion today? You can see that the survey's up. Please go ahead and complete that. Our post-show notes will hit your inbox very soon with the slide deck, with all of our connections for the attendees, so you can reach out to each other and other resource links. To learn more about who we are and what we do, and register for more shows like this, please visit us on our website at fte.network. Check out our library of expert content and never miss a show by subscribing to our YouTube, Apple, and Spotify channels. So with over 2,500 members, 20,000 plus followers across more than 45 industries, the FTE network is growing fast thanks to you and our sponsors. That does it for us today, folks. Once again, thank you very much, Andrea, and to all of you from the experts.